Welcome back to the channel. It's been quite a while since I uploaded anything. It's been super massively busy year, but today we're gonna do something fun. Normally we work on the Mustang or some other more gasoline related things. So today we're gonna be doing things that are electric. So this is the center console section out of a Tesla Model Y or 3. And today we are replacing the garbage wireless induction charger that Tesla has included in there with an induction charger or custom-made induction charger that is going to allow you to charge 3 devices. So the concept of this is that it replaces the whole section of the Tesla induction. You have now 2 Apple MagSafe, the new designed ones that are 30 watts each, and they're Shy 2 compatible, or whatever the word is. So it should work as well with Android devices. You also have a little nubby one in here that does watch charging. So then when you're on the road, if you're on longer roads, you have a choice. You can charge your phones, you can charge your headphones, your AirPods, and you can also charge your watch if for some reason that's out of battery. So this is designed by my friend nmbuilds. He initially came up with the design, and I reached out to him and said, hey, I can help you get the electronics working. And so we've been working on the design together for a long time. This is the latest build that he sent me. The only thing I've done special to it is I have just used a little bit of a filament to kind of glue the wires in here so they don't come out. You can use super glue or anything like that. This just kind of was the quick and dirty way for me. So easy. It should be very easy to install technically in the car. So we got these 2 in here. There's these little cover plates that we're gonna just glue on top. So then the actual mat or the pad is a lot more smooth or flat. And then on top of that, we're going to be gluing some material that looks very similar to the Alcantara in the Tesla. This is a double sticky material. The kit that my friend nmbuilds is going to provide you guys, if you ever buy from him, you should buy from him, by the way, because he's invested a lot of time in it, is going to be a simple material. You're going to use some 3M glue to kind of glue it to the plate. I'm going to use the additional 3M glue on top of this, just to be on the safe side that it doesn't unglue itself in the heat or anything like that. And then from there, we just kind of screw it back into the car, into the frame. This used to be plastic welded, and then once you drill the plastic rivets, in a sense, out, you can just use screws to kind of hold it better. So this easily just kind of, comes in and kind of just mounts on the back of it, right? And it looks just like this. Once it's covered with material, you're not even going to be able to tell. And then there is another electronics board that all of these hook up into, which I'm going to show later on in the video. The electronics board is very straightforward. You got a couple of wires, you solder into it. There's a custom case for it that it goes into it. I use the zip tie to kind of hold it a little bit better, and then a little bit of felt tape so it holds the cables together. And then from there, I used a couple of zip ties to connect the wires to the old Tesla plug. And then from there, you just kind of tuck all of it in and kind of install the whole thing. So I'm going to walk you through the steps of that. And then the first things first is we're going to glue the little caps in here and then put the material. Okay, to get these on, all you do is just put a little super glue on the edge, glue it, and then you're done. Mine are pretty messy because I've used them in a previous prototype. So I'm just going to flip them because there's just some leftover 3M glue on them. So we're going to do that now and then just get them glued in there. So just a little dab of, you don't need a lot of super glue in here. It's just to kind of hold them until you put the material on top. So there you go, there's my super glue. Just a little bit on the edge. Just kind of put it in there. Put a little bit on the other side. and then just put these on, and then they will dry up and get glued to the case. As you can see, they are both stuck in here. We're just gonna cut a piece of material, use some 3M cement glue, and then on both sides let it dry up a bit and then slap it on top of this. Okay, it's a little cold outside, but it should do it. So you get your contact cement, shake it thoroughly until you get everything properly mixed up. And then what you're gonna do is just spray it in here. You're gonna want to put a good amount of glue to kind of make sure that it covers the whole part of the plate. The stuff you want to get in is the edges, because that's where the material will need to stick very well. And then once this is done, we need to get the other side of the material and then equally spray it with the contact cement. Remember that if this is wet to the touch, you're not there yet. You need to make sure that it's dry to the touch before you can actually put the material on top. Okay, so we got the whole material glued up. What we're gonna need to do is get a little knife or X-Acto blade and trace the edge on the inner side and then remove the material. So just a very fine sharp blade, cut everything. This material will be tucked in and held by the frame of the car anyways, so I wouldn't be too worried about it, but you just need to make sure that you leave a little bit and then take that off. Once you apply the material and glue it to the board, you get stuck or left over with something like this, which is ready to go in the car. In order to get the board ready, you need to do a couple of things. So for this step, we're assuming that you just bought the board and it's got no connectors, no nothing. So to get this ready, you're going to use some 14 gauge wire. You're going to strip some of the wire ends. Then you're going to feed it through the back side, as you can see in here. I used some solder helpers, which they left a little bit of an indentation in the wire, but you're fine. Push it through and solder it very well. Gray goes to minus, green goes to plus. Leave a little bit of a slack on the wire. Then you're going to use the spade connectors and just solder these spade connectors to the end of the wires. Use some felt tape to get the whole thing kind of finished. Take the printed case, put the box, the board on the case, force it in a little bit. The endings where the ports go are super tight. So you want to make sure that the board sits very flush with the case. Okay, once you do that, get the case cover, snap it in place. That keeps the wires spread out. And this is your module ready for the next step, which is building the connector. The next step is going to be very, very crucial that you pay attention and you don't get any shorts. And put it all around the connector to get it nicely insulated for the next step. That way they don't touch when you build your connector with the screw that is or isn't provided in the kit. Another thing that you're going to want to do is take a zip tie, feed it through the wires. Once you feed it through the wires, loop it around. And then close it around the box. As you can see in here, zip tie, close it around the box, zip it all around. This should keep the box closed so it doesn't ever open up. I don't think you're gonna ever have that problem, but there's just an extra safety net you can put in place to make sure that the box does not get impacted by any sort of vibrations in the car or anything like that. Angle comes out pretty well, and it'll hold the zip tie to the sides between the two connectors of the wireless chargers. To minimize the amount of noise you'll get, or I will get, I went a little bit above and beyond. I had some double sticky felt tape, and I have covered the case in this double sticky felt. I still have proper air ventilation, and I'm hopefully minimizing the amount of noise I get. I can probably put another edge on these corners. Okay, now the hardest part of this whole thing is to take out these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weld marks. The easiest thing to do is take advantage of one of these. I think 1/2 inch might work, but maybe 3/8. We'll have to figure out. And you kind of put it, probably 1/2 inch, and you kind of put it on the center of the weld mark and just drill it out a bit. You can even do it by hand, but using a drill with this is going to make it a lot faster. So let's do that really quick. Okay, so we have our drill. We don't have to go too hard, just a little bit. Almost there. And there's that. One more. 2. Almost done. There you go. Almost there. Now you shake that off and this should come off. Now the benefit of something like this is of like this screw is, look how amazing the knobs are left. You can very easily screw in there. Kind of leaves the pre-drilled hole almost ready for you to kind of put that back in. So let's take a look at how this looks now. You're gonna use the screws that are either included in the kit or are referenced. Something like these. These are sheet metal screws, 3/8, number 8. These are gonna be perfect length to just get everything screwed in and not come out through the hole. So yeah. Also, the best part is that it fits on an extension of a quick, I guess, disconnect drill. So this should be very easy to get it in. You have to snap it in to make sure the rivet base actually goes into the hole of each of these mounting places. Okay, so I wanted to do this with something called Sugru, but I don't have the patience. I'm really excited because this is a really cool project. So we're gonna go the old school method of using zip ties. So easiest thing to do is make a loop a little bit bigger, make a smaller loop a little smaller, stick it through, get the 2 cables through, one on each side of the loop in a sense. Now we're gonna get this the other way. There you go. Okay, now we close the loop in the middle, kind of separates the cables. Okay, make sure you do it before where you soldered, so that way you have a little bit of a something to kind of hold the cable. And there you go. As you can see, it's just this holding them together. We're just gonna clip that in a second. And then this holds the 2 cables together. Enough of a gap that we shove this into the plug. And then we're gonna use a secondary zip tie to go once again in between and zip tie it around the plug to kind of hold it in place. If you use the Sugru method, you just use the Sugru to kind of create a plug that holds these together, and then you just zip tie it again. Same thing, same process, just different approach. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do in here now. This, we're gonna disconnect from here. Okay, now that we have it out. So now we're gonna pull it out of the console because it's gonna come in technically through here. All right, we want to shove the cable come back through the center of the console. So we're going to feed it through the back side of the console, and it's gonna come through here. So let me get that in with both hands and I'll show you in a second. Now this connector that we fed it through, you'll see that it fits just fine through the inside, so it doesn't get caught in by anything else. We have it in here. Now we can get our cable box, get this connected to this, shoved into the inside, and that's where we're gonna hide the rest of our cables. So we also have to get all the rest of the 3 cables fed through the inside and down in here before we mount the plate in. So let me get this connector set up now. The black is negative, the red is positive, and then the green is not used by us. So this will be very simple. Green, positive, black or gray goes to negative. We'll start with this, shove them in there. See, it was perfect. Now we take the zip tie, put it through, and we can get the zip tie to the other side of the connector, through between the 2 wires. Zip tie this in place. That way, these are stuck in place and they never go anywhere. Now, when you do your zip tie, make sure that it doesn't come out before you trim the excess of the zip tie. You don't want to pull too tight because you don't want to put too much stress on the cable, but this should not go anywhere. And because it's between the two cables here and between the two cables there, it's not going anywhere. So all we need to do is take this, fish it through the inside, and your box is hidden. Right, you can pull the box out easily for access, should you must. So now we need to get the cables down through the backside so we can get the the charger in. I'm gonna take the 3 cables that come out of the new harness or the new wireless pads, feed them through the inside and behind the wall, this wall in here. So I got 1. Easiest if you do 1 at a time. 2. Need to get the 3rd one in. Okay. Next, we kind of bring all these cables as close, or pull them as much as we can. So the easiest thing to do is lift this up. Okay, so you can see in here, we pull the cables as much as we can. Then we plug these cables into the new wiring board. Now that they're plugged in, we feed it back into that hole. It should fit in just fine. And then you just tuck these other cables. Okay, so you feed it back into the hole, and then we just tuck these cables inside of that hole. Just like that. Okay. Make sure there's no loose cables. Okay. Once there's that, we can feed whatever is left over of the extra wires from the top side over the wall, drop this down, and now we can snap it in. So we're going to put it back down in here. All right, we're going to snap it in. I have the extra mag back for my car, so I'm going to feed the cable as well. So stop. This is in. And then feed the rest of the center console in through here. Okay. And now make sure the door opens. Okay. And then check your work. As you can see in here, phone is charging. Okay, we're going to take that out, put it back in there, and it's charging right now. Try the phone on the other side, and it's charging right now. And the last one we're going to do is take the watch. I have a different, so then you can see it is charging just fine. So there you have it, a little bit of a work, but not too much. You can totally do this in an afternoon. It doesn't take a lot of work. And then now you can enjoy the fact that your Tesla can charge the devices faster and multiple devices now instead of 2 or 1. Or even if you have the new iPhones, you wouldn't be able to properly charge them because of that hump. So now with the new setup, you have the correct distance between the wireless charger and the phone to charge at maximum capacity. So give a shout out once again to nmbuilds. Check out his channel, go check out the store, buy the parts from him. He worked a lot of time to get this up and running, and support him, and see you on the next one.